Hi, this is Kasian, and it's time for a weekly conference call at VectorspaceAI. We'll start with what's happening around the world. The CDC has issued a statement saying that fully vaccinated Americans are no longer required to wear masks in most indoor places. India and the UK are battling a new strain of the virus that's moving from India into the UK. Israel and Palestine are engaged in a ground war as tensions have escalated. The Colonial Pipeline. This hack, called the Colonial Pipeline hack, resulted in about 70%, in some cases 70% of the gas stations on the east coast of the United States running out of gas. That was a ripple effect. This also resulted in a $5 million payment being made in BTC to the hacking group. In addition, an executive order was issued related to cybersecurity. BTC is hovering at 49K, ETH is at about 3,600, and the Dow is at about 34K, with a retrace in tech across the board. On the industry side, back to ETH. ETH made an all-time high of 4,362. So we can see that a little retrace has happened back down to 3,600. Nothing but a buy-up as far as we see. Part of this was the result of Elon Musk mentioning that Tesla will stop taking Bitcoin related to environmental concerns. And of course, on the industry side, every day we've got news related to NLP, NLU, and NLG. We post most of it on a daily basis on our Telegram channel. Under themes and events, the chip shortage. This is a quote from a headline. The chip shortage is starting to have a real world impact. And this relates to an article on CNBC where it's described that everyday appliances are being affected, and that includes anything that has circuit boards, anything that has chips. Mainly the auto industry is being affected at this point. And ESG remains on the menu. This continues to be a hot topic, and it's just been reignited with Tesla not accepting BTC based on the energy footprint. So of course, the question is, how many other cryptos have a similar energy footprint? And then of course, we're still under themes and events, and we've got cybersecurity. And as we mentioned in the past, cybersecurity is a big, broad theme, broad and deep. That means it can be broken up into several sub-themes. And of course, using the backtester for thematic baskets, we're able to generate very specific themes dynamically. We've been observing those on our thematic baskets channel. And then when you look at what's happening in terms of tech, the retrace in tech, in terms of the traditional markets, you can look at any tech issue that's dropped by 15% and then immediately insert that symbol into our system, and a dataset will result, a cluster from a dataset will result in a group of stocks related to that one issue that dropped by 15% or more. On the corp side, we have a few HR announcements. We're continuing to hire, and one of those hires relates to our new executive admin, Hannah McClendon, and we have also hired Ted Starella, and Ted will be joining officially on May 24th. We'll mention more about that later. Under engineering, product, QA, and ops, on the finance side, we have requested data from Morningstar related to anything they can provide us related to ESG data sources. And we have a whole menu that they've given us that we'll go over in just a bit here, related to all the data sources that Morningstar provides, and what we can do with them, how we can combine them to better offer data sets through Morningstar. We also have continued ongoing data set production. And then under the Space Biosciences category, we've also got continued data acquisition. We're in data acquisition mode there. And on the CERN side, that is in progress, continued progress. Under customers, partners, and collaborators, for S&P, what we're looking at here really is S&P and Morningstar neck and neck in terms of which ones will be showcasing our data sets first. That's really based on how fast they can internally get their agreements processed and moved forward. So when it comes to S&P, we're looking at several tracks, as we've mentioned in the past, and it's not just based on a single agreement. There are several agreements. That's the way it works with complex agreements like these that involve AI, data sources, data sets, all tip of the spear stuff when it comes to being able to make predictions related to the markets, using the data and extracting intelligence from the data as opposed to just storing the data. So when we look at S&P, what we're looking at is getting these data agreements cleared and then producing data sets so they can be showcased on their market intelligence site. And then with Morningstar, the only thing that we have to do with Morningstar is get back to them and let them know, based on the menu they've provided us, what data sources we're interested in. And of course, one of the data sources that is most valuable to us would be any rich company descriptions, because they represent human language. Any human language that surrounds a public company or a crypto, we're interested in at this point. And in terms of the company information that they provide, according to them, the company profile package provides the most commonly used general information of a company, including address, employee number, and 3 different versions of the company's description. The package has 2 delivery schedules, a monthly delivery containing a full universe and a delta delivery containing the companies that have been recently updated or newly added. Okay, so that just gives you a general idea of the profile description that they're providing. They're also providing comparables, comps, and these would be companies related to the company you're looking at. So if you're looking at company XYZ, they'll provide you with 10 comparables or companies that they feel are relevant to that company. And this is where we're actually going to help them out a bit. When you look at producing a list of comparables, that's a basket. It's a basket of companies related to the company you're looking at. That's essentially a thematic basket, and our data sets produce those. So we'll see if we can augment Morningstar's comparables offering. We'll be talking with them about that. And that's something they've built in for most of their customers. And then on the CloudQuant side, CloudQuant we're going to put on ice. One of the reasons for that is that we've hired the VP of Sales there, Ted Stirali, and he is, as mentioned, joining May 24th, and he'll be focused on revenue. He'll be working directly with myself and with a few others on the sales and corporate development side and biz dev side, and it will be for the primary purpose of closing on revenue deals. And we'll also add him to the team that's interfaced with our 10 funds that we've talked with over the last few weeks. We haven't heard back from any of them yet in terms of the trial. So we anticipate that we'll hear from them in a week or two. We know that they're just talking about VXV and determining whether or not they want to involve VXV with a trial. So this is something that takes serious thought on their part. One of the reasons is related to a culture of compliance that we know each of these companies maintains with the SEC. And that, of course, relates to making sure that they don't inadvertently or unfairly drive the price of VXV up so that people get hurt on the way down. This is something they have to be sensitive to, and it's not something that we talk about too often. But it is an elephant in the closet when it comes to the partners that we talk to. It's also a reality on the ground that we all have to face. Our institutions that we've been talking with over the last few months have warmed up to crypto, and this is why we're more openly talking about it, and this is in fact why we made VXV a requirement for any of the customers to engage with the trial. We'll also be adding proprietary trading desks, and these proprietary trading desks, one of them is named Denell Capital, and they have their feet in crypto as well. So another one is Novum Alpha, and another one is BB Trading. So we have some familiarity with those groups, and a few connections based on recent hires we've made. So we'll be interfacing with these prop desks, which are separate from the 10 funds that we're talking with. And as mentioned before, the proprietary trading desks are a way for us to perhaps partner on the investment club side. So a proprietary trading desk, as mentioned to us, there might be more than one that will be interested in providing the capital for the internal investment club related to trading the cream of the crop thematic smart baskets. So there might be a possibility, given that they have licenses in most states, or the states that matter for us, that we'll partner with them in terms of rolling something like this out with an initial proprietary trading desk, and then we'll go ahead and take on other customers, and those would be other institutions. We'll keep the public updated on that progress. On the Space Biosciences side, because we're under customers, partners, and collaborators, we have nothing to report there except that everything is in process with the labs. On the sales and marketing side, we have a modified roadmap that we're looking at in terms of sales and marketing. Now that we've built out our team a little more, and we're building out our network within the traditional markets a bit more. And this will mean that we'll have new contacts and, of course, new customer requirements from Ted and his network related to how, in fact, certain proprietary trading desks might want to use datasets based on extracting a signal or adding it to their own data engineering pipeline they may be building out, or one of their customers. We'll see. But the new roadmap is going to be focused on, of course, consequential revenue, making sure that we have a laser-like focus on that. Next, we have exchanges, and this connects to our CloudQuant operation and putting CloudQuant on ice. Why would we put CloudQuant on ice if Kraken requested datasets through CloudQuant? Well, one of the reasons is that we have hired Ted Storelli, the VP of Sales over at CloudQuant, and this means that he'll be interfacing with Kraken for us and determining specifically what Kraken would like in terms of data sets. So far, we haven't had that specific communication, and one of the reasons for that has been the reorganization at CloudQuant, which is in our favor, of course. On the IR, PR, and Marcom side, we've extended our PR pipeline based on the growth of our network here. And we're initially looking at an S&P versus Morningstar scenario play out here. So whoever moves the fastest is who you'll be hearing from, who the public will be hearing from in terms of their partnership with VectorspaceAI and Datasets. So we actually at this point expect Morningstar to move pretty quick compared to S&P. So we'll see. We may have reached critical mass or some kind of flywheel momentum with S&P. We don't know. We'll find out. In any case, it's important to keep in mind that this is not just about a single PR. This is about a series of PRs based on multiple tracks we have inside these companies. And of course, it's also important to remember that every high-value data set is its own PR. Next, we'll move to questions from the trader base. Question 1. Where do we find all the information related to the investment club, its structure, and all the numbers associated with this project? You can join the channel VXV Thematic Baskets Tier 1. And you can request to join that channel through our main community channel. The next question is, concerning hedge funds taking large positions in VXV, are they aware/happy with the purchase and transfer costs through the current means? Am I correct in understanding that the coins will potentially be bought for them by Vectorspace? They could also do it themselves, but regardless, are they aware of the exchange fees, the rates, and the transfer costs to the wallets? Though the around 3% rates are fairly low at smaller investor levels, that same 3% transaction/transfer when investing much larger capital is a substantial amount compared to current financial institutions. So for us, this is a non-issue. These institutions are used to working with public market order books. That means they know how to work the bid and the ask. And they also know how to work with groups like ourselves who are willing to waive certain fees. The next question is, would there be some sort of platform where people willing to lease their VXV could meet hedge funds? Absolutely. This is part of our initial plan. When you look at our mission statement, it's to get machines talking with machines and to have an auction area where you'd be able to bid on data sets or feature columns related to data sets and exchange these, either human to machine or machine to machine or machine to human. And this would of course mean human to human or human to company or fund. So if you build a high value data set, you'd certainly want to put it in an auction style marketplace where you'd be able to auction it off to the highest bidder based on the lease. The next question, question 5, can someone explain what an index like SPBTC is useful for? Probably a stopgap or a placeholder. We're pretty certain about that. The second part of this question, I want to buy Vectorspace, but I still can't understand how it works. Also, I don't see any project-related posts in the social media about what the team and developers are doing now. Well, we do have an FAQ if you would like to understand what we do as a company. And in terms of us posting code to the public, that's not what we do. We're not in the business of giving away proprietary code. That makes our customers money. The next, what are the tokenomics for VXV? Now, this is also found in our FAQ. And it looks like we could use a little modification of how we collect these questions. And we'll make that modification for everybody here so we don't have these basic questions coming through. We can just simply refer people right on the spot to the FAQ. The next question, question 7. So, say I have a deal with Vectorspace for dataset services for a year. I pay $100,000 cash up front and buy my VXV tokens. Suddenly the market crashes and VXV is now worth half the price. Does this mean I'll need to top up my VXV tokens? No. The next question, 8. Any update on funding from big investors? And in parentheses, or last update on this was February 16th. As the strategy involves token buybacks, will there be transparency on that allocation. So first off, any update on funding from big investors? This is a matter of timing for us. When we're happy with the valuation, we'll go ahead and reach out to the investors that have shown an interest. And then in terms of will there be transparency on the allocation of the buybacks? Absolutely. In terms of timing, we don't provide guidance on timing of the price bump associated to buybacks. The next question, question 9. I could be wrong, but I believe customer VXV addresses double up as API keys that managed by Vectorspace. Would there be a scaling limit to the total number of customers you can service at any point in time? The answer to that is no. The next question, question 10. Where do people see VXV in 12 months? Market rank wise. Well, you'd have to define market rank. We define market rank by consequential revenue, not by wash trading. The next question, question 11. In your honest view, how has potential customers, partners internalized the fact that they would need to hold VXV to use the service? What were the common questions, concerns that they had, and how did you address it with them? They actually had no concerns. Everyone was happy to know that VXV is used for data provenance, data lineage, data governance, and data security, especially considering the fact that datasets are the number one attack vector when it comes to tomorrow's cybersecurity issues. Tomorrow's cybersecurity issues will be related to AI and machine learning. Datasets power AI and machine learning. It's important to keep those secure, especially when you're making billion-dollar decisions or trades. That means you're going to want VXV to make sure that no one has modified or tampered with the dataset. And as we explain how VXV is used for data provenance and data lineage, data governance and data security, we also explain that it's used to access the datasets based on the VXV wallet API. When we mention that VXV is required for a trial, we usually mention it near the tail end of the first introductory statement related to what we do as a company and what the value that we provide. And that means that so far we have gotten all positive reception. And I think we had one group, I think it was Morgan Stanley. They mentioned that they thought this was a very interesting idea and they've never heard of anything like it and they wanted to know more about it. So we'll see how this goes. Question 12. Will part of revenue from ventures other than thematic baskets be used for VXV buybacks? For example, GNC, Space Bioscience discoveries that are licensed, etc. Absolutely. Because our goal is to acquire as much VXV as possible. Question 13. It was mentioned on the conference call on the 25th of January that you were working on NASDAQ and NYSE rather than Coinbase or Kraken for better liquidity. Is there any progress there? Well, if we had a choice, yes, we'd rather be listed on NASDAQ or NYSE, just as Coinbase chose to be listed on NYSE or NASDAQ. So when we look at Coinbase and Kraken, we put them in different categories than NASDAQ and NYSE. Different liquidity categories, in fact. Different compliance categories and regulatory categories. Now, yes, we'd rather be listed on NASDAQ and NYSE, of course. Ideally, we'd want to have a separate instrument. We'd want to create a separate instrument to be listed on NASDAQ or NYSE. And this is an exploratory process. As the markets shape up and adapt and evolve, we don't know, no one knows where things are headed in terms of crypto companies and precisely how they're going to be listed on traditional exchanges. But we do know that it's going to happen. So we're preparing to groom the company in that direction. One of the first things that we'll be doing, of course, is interfacing with the NASDAQ machine intelligence group. and this group is hungry for datasets. Question 14, what are your thoughts on interoperability offered by QNT and how VXV can possibly play a role there? Well, we are going to focus on our big revenue partners first, and then we'll focus on other partners in the crypto sphere that represent a little less revenue, but we are fastest path to revenue. That's how we're oriented here, and fastest path to big revenue, and we prioritize that first. The big money first over little money at this point. Question 15, for someone that hears about buybacks for the first time, could you paint them a picture of the life cycle of a client payment or buyback happening? Any details are highly appreciated. By the way, these weekly conference calls are just priceless. So, walking through, if you're a customer, if you're an institution, you'll take an interest in designing a data set. We will create that data set. You'll choose the data sources, you'll choose the row types and the column types and the context controls and the number of times it's updated. And you'll pay 99 cents per update at a minimum. In some cases, 99 cents per data source, 99 cents per column type, 99 cents per row type, 99 cents per context type. 50% of that payment goes to our company treasury, and 50% goes to acquiring VXV for the purpose of placing it in a wallet to provide that customer with access to the data sets, to that particular data set. Of the 50% that goes to acquiring VXV in a wallet, we store that with a custodial service, and for the 50% that goes to the treasury, we can take a percentage of that and engage in buybacks. What percentage? That is determined on a case-by-case basis. Question 16. Are there any updates regarding a refresh of the VectorspaceAI website? Yes, we have updates in the pipeline. We're working on that right now. Question 17. What are the benefits to an individual investor like myself to holding VXV apart from potential price appreciation? You've got access to data sets that will help you make money if you can trade thematic baskets related to global events in crypto or the financial markets, traditional markets. Question 18, and this is the last one. Would VXV be listed on Binance one day? Maybe after the feds are done with them. If you've seen recent headlines, Binance is having to deal with the feds. Next, we'll move to the strategy section. So, under strategy here, we have mentioned in the past that we'll have a laser-like focus on consequential revenue. And that's going to take converting anyone that enters a trial to a paying subscriber. What this also means is that the pipelines that we're working on for proprietary trading desks for other institutions, these pipelines can be licensed out. These pipelines also represent revenue based on customized services. Not that we want to go into professional services, but it is a form of revenue. We're currently modifying our revenue strategy, and this involves a few new hires that we've made. This also involves expanding our network of customers. Currently, we're working with New Data and their network of funds, and we're going to continue to expand the network. We're going to continue to expand until we get a nice, healthy number of institutions taking positions in VXV to access VectorspaceAI datasets. This also relates to question 12 in our questions from the trader base section. And I'll read that question once more. It says, will part of the revenue from ventures other than thematic baskets be used for VXV buybacks? For example, GNC Space Bioscience discoveries that are licensed, etc. revenue is not only going to come from the datasets and the subscription models and the 99 cents per update model that we have with datasets in the financial markets, but this person touched on a very valuable point, and that is licensing that can occur in the biosciences industry, space biosciences to all of life sciences. That specifically relates to drug targets and royalties associated to mining drug targets. The mining of drug targets takes bioinformatics. Bioinformatics takes a combination of data from wet labs and data from experiments and literature and as many different sources as possible, from ontologies to taxonomies to controlled vocabularies to some of the latest news and papers that are being published. So bioinformatics relating to drug discovery and royalties, that would be something of interest that anyone involved with VectorspaceAI might want to look up to understand how our revenue pipelines extend beyond the financial markets. And of course, revenue is one of the best forms of marketing. And it also, of course, will enable us to rise above the noise happening today in the crypto industry. This has been a pre-recorded call. If you have any questions, feel free to post them online. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week.